Welcome back to my channel. My name is Lady Lauren Xfire, and today I have a dark romance for you all. And when I say dark, on the scale of darkness, I think this is on the non-com or the R word kind of thing. And the best example of this I can give you, if you know Descent by Sam Mariano, then if you like that book, this book is the equivalent of it. Yeah. So let's just talk about Drethian Nees's Lust. The series has it's the seven sin series. So obviously you have the greed, lust, what else? Envy, all that kind of stuff. And this is nuts. I felt uncomfortable reading Descent and liking it. I felt the same way for this one. But it was really good. I don't condone anything that happens in either of those books. I'm just saying. But this was really, really good. Very well written. So let's just talk about this. Trigger warnings. Yes, you should definitely read this. Read the trigger warnings first. Because I think all the series has a level of the trigger warning we're talking about, just non-consent, and SA or R word. So, fair warning for that. If that makes you uncomfortable, then this is definitely not the book for you, and it might not be the series for you at all. Always read your trigger warnings, but if you're okay with Descent and the very extreme non-consent or R word, then this book is chef's kiss. Yes. Yes. I guess it would be a retelling of the 7 angels that were kicked out of heaven for these emotions that are the 7 deadly sins. The lust angel would be A. I don't want to say his name because I have the superstitions that if you speak of the demons' names, then they will manifest. And so I'm just going to call him A. If you know the 7 deadly sins and the 7 angels that represent each sin, then you know who A is. You can just call him Ace if you want. Ace sounds nice too. I just might do Ace. Yeah, I'm just gonna call him Ace. So Ace is his name, and this is his book. When I say this is a retelling, this is basically like a reincarnation, because even though Ace is alive in this, he's still here, you have his reincarnations of his story. We have 2 points of view, which is Tristan and Sarah. So Tristan is at a therapist office. He's 14, I think. 14 or 16. No, I think he's 16. And he's at a therapist's office, and he's talking to his therapist named Michael. And I thought about this when I first noticed. The name triggered me for a minute. I was like, huh. But then I just went past it. But then the second meeting, I was like, I don't know if I'm thinking of this right, but I think he's the Michael that I know of. You know what I'm saying? you watch Supernatural, then you know who Michael is. If you know Angels, then you know who Michael is. I was just trying to figure out. I was just like, maybe I'm just thinking too deep into this. This is not that story. And I was right. So, yes. Anyways, I'm sorry. So he's going to therapy because he basically has like lost the emotional capacity of a human because of his father's death. But as time went on, he's been going to therapy. His mom insisted, and at first he was not for therapy, but then Michael came in, and now he feels okay. We learn that his mother is getting remarried. They met in like Brazil or something. He's Brazilian and European, and he also has a tragic backstory because he has a daughter who he had with his wife, but his wife died in a very tragic accident as well, and his wife was African American. So, and I think she's 8 when they first meet, but Tristan's never seen the daughter. He just knows her name is Sarah. So at his therapy session, Michael says that he thinks there's something going on with Tristan. And then Tristan opens up that he had this dream that there's this guy who came to him in his dream and told him if he sold his heart, he would get all his desires. And then so Tristan asked, what are his desires? And he said, financial, women, success. Michael then tells him the story of Ace. That reminds me of this story about the demon of lust. And he goes into men's dreams and sells them on their temptations, their wants, their desires for whatever. All they have to do is sell their soul or heart or both, and they can get their desires. Tristan's like, well, that's like a wink-a-dink. And Michael was just like, yeah. So what did you say? And Tristan goes, I chose lust. And I remember this scene because I was like, oh yeah, we're in for this. Because he said that as he was leaving the office, he looked back and Michael had this very somber, pitying, disappointed look on his face. And that's when I really honed in on maybe Michael is an angel of God. But I dismissed it because why? It's just a story. And then we go into him meeting Sarah for the first time, and we find out through his sessions with Michael, because it's Tristan when he was 16 and Sarah, I think 8. Then it goes into 14 or 15 years in the future, and Sarah's 19, and he's in his 30s. And he still goes sees Michael, but then something starts happening in his conscious where he realizes that he's attracted to his sister. His adopted sister, not even a stepsister, because his mother adopted her into the family, and her father adopted Tristan into the family. We also find out that because of this deal he made with Ace, he has very unearthly and Eutherian looks. He is the bee's knees for penny dropping women. His vanity is peak. Then we find out, because of the story of Ace, that Ace fell in love with a woman named Sarah, who he could never be one with because of the striking down from God, where God said that you will have all these pleasurable desires, but your heart will be hollow. So the woman that you, or women who you fall in love with, will never be able to touch or see you. They will only be able to feel a slight essence of you. And so that's the story of Ace and Sarah. Like, he has this obsession with her where he starts to kill all of the men who have a interest in her. And because no one knows of him, everyone thinks that she is the person. She's cursed. She's the person who's killing them. She's a succubus. And so she becomes like super depressed because of this. Ultimately, like, tries to distance herself away from people because of that, especially men. And then we get another character named Toby, who she falls in love with, or Tobias. That ends in tragedy as well. And ultimately, Sarah decides to escort herself because of all of the horrible things that were happening to the men and the people around her. So Ace has this whole entire background story. Now, let's go to Tristan. His sister name is Sarah, and she's 19. She has never had a job because Tristan doesn't want her to have a job, and he and his family decide that she shouldn't have a job at all, especially since she's in college. She works as an advocate for this community center for the youth, and she happens to be getting rounded up by a police officer whose name is Tobias. And they have like a little banter together, and then Tristan shows up to pull her out and get her home. Long story short, it's basically their story again, except for with a twist. So Tristan decides to, hearing the story of Ace, he decides to take it into his own hands. He wants Sarah for himself, and he will do anything in his power to make Sarah his in any kind of way. So there's points in times where even when she's like, she took a pill because she couldn't sleep, she falls asleep, and then she starts to pleasure herself. He gets so hooked on that he then engages in her sexual pleasuring, even though she's asleep, and he continues to do that. Then there is a point in time where her and Tobias have decided that they are wanting to be together, and even though she's scared of what her brother might say, because her parents love Tobias because they actually are, I think, family friends or know of each other, and they want Tobias to be with Sarah. She wants Tristan's approval, which he would never give. And so Tobias finally tells her hey, let's just do this. She's a virgin. Let's just commit this together. Tristan hears about this, and that's when we get into assault in our word, because this is this is crazy. In Descent, it was crazy. This was crazy. But in the end, they do have an HEA. A lot of things happen negatively because of their HEA, but in the end, they do have a very courageous and I don't want to say happy, but it was happy. They got what they wanted at the end of the day, and they are living very happily with their HEA. If you like Descent, then this book is great for you. It's, because this is crazy. I know in Descent, 80% of it is non-com or R-word. And this one, it's 40%, not even 40, because she has the attraction with Tristan, but she doesn't like engage in it until all that stuff starts happening to her, and then he coerces her to strike a deal with him, and then she slowly opens up her mind to the attraction she has for her adopted brother. So I guess it would be like dubious consent too. So non-com, R word, dubious consent. Just giving it to you. Again, I don't condone anything that happens in any of the books that I just mentioned, but it was a great read, and I gave it a 4.75. The only reason I didn't give it the 5 stars because I wanted it to be longer. Like, I wanted more from them. I wanted the ending, their epilogue. I wanted more of the time they came into this, as in told their parents that they were in love with each other. When they moved away and all, I just wanted more. I also wanted a little confrontation with Lith. Yeah, so that is it. Like, I wish there was a little bit more, but I'm okay. And it is going to be a favorite for me, even though it's not 5 star. Just a little bit longer. A little bit longer. Maybe like, 390, 400, 500 pages. Just saying. Just longer. But my name is Lady Lauren Explorer, and I hope you enjoyed this. Again, just saying. I will see you all in my next video. I hope you have a wonderful day, and bye.